All right. Well, I made another trip to the Texas State Surplus store in Austin, Texas, which is a dangerous place for a knife fanatic like myself to go because they have a huge collection of knives that have been surrendered to TSA, the Transportation Security Administration, at airports all over Texas and that are now for sale, uh, often at drastically reduced prices to the general public. Um, and most states have a facility like this. A lot of them do most of their sales online, and they do it in like lots. So you'd have to buy like a bag of a bunch of knives in a lot together that are packaged together based on whatever an employee at that store thought should go together in a bundle. Um, they do have some prepackaged lots at the Texas State Surplus store, but they also have a lot of knives that are just in bins that you can sort through and pick out individually. Some knives at individual prices. Most of the stuff here on the table, with one exception, came out of either an $8 bin or a $3 bin. Those of you who are knife fanatics, I'm sure, can guess which of these knives was not in a in a $3 or $8 bin and cost a little bit more than that. Um, but yeah, just a couple of reminders for anybody who's going to the Texas State Surplus store with the intention to buy and to hunt through their bins to find some good deals on knives. I always recommend wearing cut-resistant gloves because some of the knives will be open or will have damaged mechanisms, meaning the blades can easily fall open while you're handling them, um, and you don't want to cut yourself. So yeah, if you're digging around in a bin full of knives, wear some cut resistant gloves. I see tons of people not doing that, and I'm sure that people get cut there. It's also kind of grody because the knives have been handled by who knows how many people and used to cut who knows what. So wearing gloves is good for hygiene as well. And all of these knives, I have at least wiped down superficially with 91% rubbing alcohol, so that they're not, you know, uh, disgusting. Um, but I will eventually disassemble and thoroughly clean most of these knives if I'm going to keep them or use them or sell them or whatever I end up doing with them. And I will almost definitely be taking these apart, except for those that are made with pinned construction that can't be taken apart. Um, but those will get a good cleaning too. All right, so let me walk you through what I've got here and tell you a little bit about it. So we'll start up here. This is the Milwaukee, what do they call this? The Fastback? Yeah, Fastback. It is a box cutter. It takes regular uh, blades that you can get at a hardware store, and this was $3. It is button actuated, so it locks open and it locks closed with the button. And it can be flicked open, or you can use, there's a nail nick here, but you'd have to depress the button while you did that. This is a nice design. It's got jimping back here, and you can hold it back here, or you can choke up on it to get more detailed cutting work done. Um, yeah, this material, this red plastic, picks up dirt, especially this is a working man's knife that was probably used on a job site somewhere, so it's pretty stained and dirty. Even though I have at least wiped it down with alcohol at this point, I would need to do some scrubbing, probably with a bristle brush, in order to really get this clean. But should be doable. I've already replaced the blade. Um, yeah, good little work knife, and these tool brand knives, either the box cutters or the actual folding knives, are easy to find at a place like the state surplus store. They're often abundant there, and they're usually pretty cheap. And yeah, if you need a job site knife, either a box cutter or just a regular pocket knife, you can find, or something like a carpet knife, with a hawkbill blade on it. Um, you can get Milwaukee or Cobalt or Klein tools. A lot of the brands that you see in big box hardware stores, super cheap. Um, so yeah, always a pretty good bet if that's something that you need. Um, Here I've got a Gerber Asada. I believe this color is called Onyx. This is a stone-washed cleaver blade with a flipper tab. This one opens pretty well. A lot of these have really stiff frame locks, but this one seems fine. Um, they've got a nice big flat pocket clip that does not create a hot spot, and then you've got a couple of different grip options. You can choke up and use that forward finger choil there. Um, you know, it's um, it's got a tip, even though it is a cleaver shaped blade. You can pierce stuff with that for opening packages or whatever. This I'm pretty sure is 7CR series steel. They do make a version of this model in D2 steel, which would be preferable as far as I'm concerned. 7CR is easier to sharpen and more stain resistant than D2, but D2 is going to hold an edge better. But yeah, $8, acceptable. I think this is aluminum handle. It's got a little over travel stop there. Pretty well sorted budget knife. This next one is interesting. This is Stone River is the brand on this, and this is a ceramic bladed knife with desert ironwood handles, and there's a little bit of damage there on the show side. On the clip side, the wood is really even more attractive. It's got this sort of figured, pattern to it. Yeah, so it's a ceramic blade. If you're not familiar with ceramic blades, ceramic is harder than most steels. It can be chippy. This one is not chipped, so that's good. But you have to make what good choices about what applications you use a ceramic knife for. But yeah, it can be a real good slicer. To sharpen ceramic is a bit of a pain. I think you need to use diamond stones, diamond impregnated sharpening stones. Liner lock, very lightweight, right? Good materials. That desert ironwood is good stuff. These go new for $75. This was $8. I'm pretty happy with this purchase. Good lockup. Single position pocket clip. Okay. Next, I've got two Kershaws that feature the Emerson Wave opener. These are the small ones. These come in various sizes. I think this is the smallest size that Kershaw puts out. This one, the pocket clip is a little bent. I might try and take that off and bend it back to where it's going to be usable as a pocket clip. There's a thumb disc opener as well as that Emerson Wave. The idea here, if you're not familiar with this kind of knife, is that you can catch this on your pocket as you're pulling the knife out of your pocket, and it'll deploy open. So it's open by the time you have it out of your pocket. I guess that's kind of a tactically oriented feature. I don't really think of knives as tactical weapons, although obviously that is one application for them. This has got a nice little recurve to it. The other one is a Tonto blade, more of a straight edge, and then a Tonto tip. Yeah, these are, I'm pretty sure these are 8CR steel. There are D2 versions of these, but I think they would probably be marked D2 if these were those. Yeah, they're fine. I have several of the larger ones. These were $8 a piece. It's made in China. frame lock, G10, 8CR stainless steel. Um, Not much more to say about those. This one was interesting. I saw it there. It's a Boker Plus. It is a lockback in a sort of a traditional style. 440C, which is, reasonably good stainless steel. This one's got obviously some damage to the blade there that I would need to sharpen beyond in order to give this a good edge again. And, nice, I might do a little work on to get the tip back. Yeah, I picked this up. Some of these Bokers in the traditional style, like the slip joints and some of the lockbacks, are moderately valuable. I looked this one up. This is not after after I bought it. I looked it up. This is not a particularly expensive knife. I think this is made in China. It doesn't say on the blade, but Boker Plus stuff is made in a lot of different places. The only thing you can really be sure of with Boker Plus is that it's not made in Germany, because if it was made in Germany, they wouldn't put the plus on it. It would just be Boker. But yeah, I think probably made in China on this one, and they retail for like 20 something dollars. So I think I paid 8. Didn't do so well on this. I mean, it's fine. It's fine, and I can sharpen it up. And 440C is good steel, but I took a gamble and was kind of hoping it would be worth more than that. But yeah, it's okay. Kershaw Natrix with a copper handle and D2 blade. So, I think these are Chinese made. Does it say? Yeah, China. This is a flipper, right? Good flipping action. It's we're going to call that a frame lock. And, it's got a deep carry pocket clip. These retail new for about $72 with the copper handles. I can polish this up. It'll look great. And yeah, I think it was $8. So that's a pretty significant discount for the used option there. All right. Coming back up here. So this is a KaBar. This is the Folding TDI, right? And this series with the black synthetic handle material and the steel bolsters and the gray finished blade. These are kind of cheap Chinese knives. I think they're 420C or 420, excuse me, steel. I have a few different designs that are sort of this family of knives, and they're mostly junk. But this one's interesting because it does have the TDI blade shape. If you're not familiar with this, it was developed by a law enforcement officer, I believe, and the idea is, I think the earlier ones were fixed blades, and the more popular design of this is the fixed blade style, right? It's a last ditch kind of self-defense weapon that you could pull on your belt. Obviously, this is kind of a joke one. This is Space Force, because KaBar makes knives for different branches of the military. So this is the design they came up with for the Space Force version. I don't think it's actually got any real affiliation with the United States Space Force, but it's kind of that NASA logo. Anyway, the idea is that when you pull this knife, you don't have to really be a knife fighting expert to use it effectively in a self-defense situation, because it's kind of, if you just make a fist, it's already kind of going to be in an aggressive position. So yeah, KaBar did have this version of it that's in a folding knife. It's a liner lock. It's big. It's bigger than the fixed blade version. right? Um, and you know, it's not an entirely original idea. You know, you look at like the Spyderco Ayub, which is a design that's been around for a while. That also has a negative blade angle, not quite as steep, but that again is a self-defense oriented knife. Okay, this is a recent model in crew wear, but this design has been out for over 20 years, I think, uh, intermittently. Okay, so yeah, I think this was $8, which is okay. This one was $3. This is kind of an oddball knife. The Pocket Ulu. So an ulu is a blade shape from Inuit people in like Alaska. Um, and usually this is a fixed blade knife with a sort of a lot of belly, and it's used for like skinning and hunting, hunting applications, and it can also be used for food prep and sort of a general purpose knife in that culture. Um, Somebody decided to make a folding blade miniature version of it. Um, this is Pocket Ulu TM. So I guess that's the brand name as well as the description of what it is. Um, don't know what kind of steel we've got here. Nothing special, I wouldn't think. But it was kind of an oddball thing. It was $3, and I'm kind of nutty about knives, so I picked it up. And it's a lockback, right? Um, and it's actually pretty comfortable. This pocket clip is stupid, and it's missing a screw already, so I'm going to remove it. But could be a usable little knife. Pretty comfortable in hand because it's although it's small, it's wide and it's contoured. And this is grippy material. I don't know exactly what this is, but maybe Kraton. Probably not Kraton, but something that's kind of grippy like that. This is, I think, a more vintage Kershaw. This is made in Japan, right? So most of the Kershaw knives that you see now are going to be made in China or in the U.S. This is a Japanese-made Kershaw. I have not looked up the model to get really information about it. It's really light. It's a liner lock. I didn't really notice sort of how much damage there was to the finish when I picked this up. I might have passed on it if I had been looking more carefully at it. But yeah, it's it's a cool old vintage Kershaw, full flat grind, drop point, liner lock. This one, I don't know what brand this is. That's the logo. If you know, give me let me know in the comments. Yeah, there's no other text on this anywhere. It doesn't say what blade material it is, where it's made or anything. I'm sure it's made in China. It has G10 scales that are pretty smooth, and there's a little bit of a contour to them, right? They're knocked down nicely. I'm pretty sure it runs on ball bearings. It's a flipper, opens real well. It feels kind of in that same ballpark in terms of like design and materials and fit and finish as a lot of the better sort of budget Chinese brands that we can see today, like CJRB or Best Tech, and yeah, I mean it was $8. I have no idea what it is, but it seemed like a reasonably well made little knife, and I'm impulsive, so I bought it. More research needed. Let me know if you can give me any information about that. Next, we've got another Kershaw. This one, you can see it's got some rust on it. I'm going to need to do a little work to get those rust spots off of there. This is a D2 blade, so rust makes sense, right? D2 is not stainless. It is a little stain resistant, but it's not brilliant for stain resistance. This is a frame lock with you can open it with this little sort of fuller. It's not a flipper. This model is the highball, and they normally go for about 55 bucks. Right now they're on sale new for like 30 bucks, which is a pretty good deal for a new knife in D2. I got this one for 8. Obviously it's not new. But you know, I noticed that it was D2 steel, which is better than what you usually get on a Chinese Kershaw. So I picked it up. And this one I might be the best find in terms of bargain. This is the Gerber fastball, right? So we've got a fast back here from the Milwaukee. We've got a high ball from Kershaw, and we've got the fastball from Gerber. Now this has some discoloration on there. I don't know if that's oxidization. It didn't come off easily with just rubbing alcohol. It is possible for S30V to rust. It's stain resistant, not stain proof. I can probably get some of that off of there, but yeah, this was $8 for an S30V made in the USA knife. It's a flipper, flips well. It's got anodized aluminum handles. I'm not sure about this sort of eggplant color. I don't know if this was like a special edition or something. This is not a color that's currently available from any of the retailers I looked at. There is sort of a silver color one, so somebody might have gotten a silver one and then done some sort of home aftermarket anodization on it. And that might be why it's got this kind of unusual purple color and why it's got some sort of like spots on it. Or maybe this was the black one and this is what the black looks like after it's, you know, been handled and bleached or something. I don't know. Gerber does have a customization tool on their website where you can, you know, kind of pick the colorways of your knife, but purple or eggplant or mauve or whatever we're going to call this was not one of the options there. So I don't know. Maybe it was a dealer exclusive that came out somewhere that I just haven't been able to find. Anyway, $8. These go new for 125. So yeah, it's a good little, you know, Warncliffe blade. It's about the same blade length and shape as like a Kershaw leak, but better steel than a standard leak. Yeah, this was a find at $8. Definitely worth more than $8. All right, one left. All right, the last thing we've got here on the table is the ProTech Magic. Yeah. So in terms of materials, not talking about anything extraordinary here. Oh, shit. I had not seen this little crack before. In fact, I wonder if I did that to it at some point recently. This is micarta. Oh, that kind of rubbed out. All right, maybe that's nothing. All right, so this is ivory micarta and aluminum and 154 cm, not CPM 154, the powder metallurgy version, but just regular old 154 cm, good old trusty ingot steel. With a two-tone blade, right? It's sort of tumbled or stone-washed on the grind, but satin on the flat. This is a design by a guy named Mike Allen, whose nickname is Whiskers. And the reason this is called Magic is because the mechanism for opening and closing this thing is kind of magic. I mean, not really. It's we've seen bolster actuated knives for a couple of decades now, but they're still uncommon and you're looking for, well, there's not a button to press, there's not a, thumb stud or flipper tab or anything. How do you open this thing? It doesn't have a nail nick, right? Uh, so the bolster, you slide the bolster, and it's an automatic knife, and then you slide the bolster to unlock it and close it. So yeah, it's a switchblade. These are real expensive, new. They are, oh, let's see, over $300, $310. Um, wasn't cheap used either. Wish I could tell you I got this for $8, but I think they had it marked 170. But that's probably the best price you'll find on this model of knife. I bought it kind of thinking I would resell it, but then I remembered after I bought it that it's a pain in the ass to sell automatic knives because they're not legal everywhere, and so some of the platforms where you sell stuff won't want you to list things like that. I don't know. Maybe I'll keep it. But yeah, it's a cool knife. All right, so that's this haul, this latest assortment of knives that I picked up on my knife safari to the Texas State Surplus store. Let me know what you think.